Tonight, my thoughts are on the current conversation of reviewing salaries for the public sector. Regulation 4 of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission provides that the Commission, meaning the SRC, shall undertake a review of remuneration and benefits of state and public officers every 4 years. That such review shall be conducted at the same time across the public sector. Recently, President William Ruto told the SRC that they should only review pay for the public servants and not the senior state officers.
For the other people, the state officers, myself, my deputy, ministers, PSS, na wale wadosi wengine wabunge, na wale wengine, sisi mambo yetu tungoje.
Now, the Commission is an independent body comprising 14 commissioners nominated by several bodies and institutions. And as the SRC Chair Lane Mengich noted, their mandate is from the Constitution.
We set pay for a job. We don't set pay for an individual. But an individual may say, yes, this is the pay you have set for this job, but I don't want to take that pay. That is fine. But that does not change the pay for the role.
Article 230 of the Constitution spells out that the Commission must consider the fiscal sustainability of the wage bill, the need to ensure that the public services attract and retain skills required, the need to recognize productivity and performance, and finally, the transparency and fairness of the entire process.
We need to make sure that the gap between the person paid the least and the person paid the most is not too big, because we are all workers.
Now, we can debate how much influence the president or the executive can have on an independent commission. But let's take a walk back in history. Once upon a time, in March 2014, the President of the Republic of Kenya, that time Uhuru Kenyatta, announced to the country that he and his Deputy President William Ruto would take a 20% pay cut, that members of the cabinet would take a 10% pay cut. Reason? To contain the public wage bill that he likened to a monster. And he said, we need to deal with this monster if we are to develop this nation. Otherwise, sooner or later, we will become a nation that only collects taxes to pay ourselves. 6 years later, when COVID-19 struck, President Kenyatta announced that he and Ruto would take a pay cut of 80%, meaning that the president's salary would reduce from 1.4 million shillings to just 280,000 shillings per month. He also announced that cabinet secretaries, chief administrative secretaries, and principal secretaries would be required to take voluntary pay cuts of up to 30%. That would have made a CS to earn a salary of 646,000 shillings, more than double that of the president. Well, there's not much detail of how far that state philanthropy went. In any case, it would be illegal to force an employee to cut their salary. Even if President Kenyatta and Deputy President Ruto that time did in fact cut their salaries, where did that money go? And when did they stop the deductions? To show sympathetic feelings that were not real. Is it even necessary? Just last week, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua affirmed President Ruto's words towards rejecting a pay rise.
Sisi wakati huu hatutaki nyongeza mshahara. Hapana. Hatutaki. Hata kama pesa itapatikana hatuwezi chukua. Mkilete return to sender. Wacha ile pesa itapatikana kwanza tununue bolea ya wakulima.
On the face of it, that sounds quite considerate. The Deputy President had a few words for those below him.
Na kama kuna waziri ameona hiyo maneno ni ngumu, uko na choice, uandike barua, uache kazi, tutafute mtu mwingine atakubali hiyo mshahara. Sababu sasa mambo iko namna hiyo.
You see, should SRC implement the proposal that they have shared, then the salary of a cabinet secretary would rise by 66,000 shillings starting this month. That's like 7% of their current pay. But how much do state officers spend on a daily basis outside their salaries? How much do they spend in local travel, foreign travel, the delegations they travel with to commission or recommission a road, a bridge, or an old manufacturing plant that was first commissioned in the previous term? How many assistants, advisors, handlers, organizers do state officers hire? How many of them are signed up to expensive contracts? How many of these are busy competing for attention of their masters instead of focusing on how to improve the service delivery of the government? What is the actual cost? The foreign travels. How many times have state officers traveled out of the country accompanied by other state officers without any meaningful role or value they are going to add to the mission? How many members of parliament have accompanied state delegations out of the country without a single role or talking point? And they claim a daily subsistence allowance enough to pay a month's salary to a senior public officer at some office in the public service. And then government officers will speak of austerity measures that must be taken to re-engineer the way government handles its business, of the agility that must be adopted to leverage technological advancements that make it possible to achieve so much within a short time at minimal cost. But then, the re-engineering has historically proven to be an opportunity for some government officers or those close to them, to the regime of the day, to make some little money. No, a lot of money, as it's their turn to eat. Austerity measures. What is austerity if it does not focus on reducing the government expenditure, especially the unnecessary spending? To those in power, speeches are not enough. There have been enough words and promises from previous regimes. More words without action make it untenable to put any weight to another word. At a wage bill of over 50% of ordinary government revenue, Kenyans deserve better services, not stories, not excuses. And that is my sense tonight.